Hello, and welcome to Storytime with some of your favorite fairy tale characters. I'm Fairy Godmother, and today's story is The Ugly Duckling.
Hello, everyone! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited I get to talk to you. It's so exciting that this magic mirror lets me able to say hello to everyone. Hello, everyone. I hope you've had a wonderful day. Maybe you got to go down by the ocean and you found a brand new shell that you're going to add to your collection. Or maybe you found a thingamabob. Or maybe you found a brand new treasure that you don't know what its name is, so you're going to have to come up with a name. That's one of my favorite things to do. Of course, I have a really big collection of them, so I have to come up with all sorts of brand new names, which is so exciting. I thought today maybe you would like to hear a story. It's one of my favorite things to do now that I'm up on land. I can read so many different books. It's so exciting. So today my story is called The Ugly Duckling. And just like me, the ugly duckling didn't fit in, and he had to figure out where he belonged. But once he figured out where he belonged, he was so excited and everything fell exactly into place the way it belonged. So I thought maybe I should read it to you. Would you like to hear it? Oh my gosh, of course, here it is. There once was a mother duck. This duck had no children, for none of her eggs had hatched yet. She waited patiently day and night for her babies to hatch. One day, as she was sitting on her nest of eggs, the mother duck felt something move beneath her. Crack, crack, crack! Filled with happiness, the mother duck watched as one by one her eggs hatched. She was so excited to lead her children to the pond and teach them all the ways of being a duck. Unfortunately for the mother duck, one egg was left to hatch. This egg was larger than the rest. This egg was browner than the rest. Her little ducks impatiently waited for 2 more days and nights. My gosh, that's such a long time. Can you imagine having to wait 2 whole days to meet your new sibling? That's so long. I want to go to the pond, Mother, quacked one of the baby ducks. Let's go, 2 of them quacked excitedly. But the mother duck made them all wait, for she had promised herself that she would love all of her children just the same. At the crack of dawn on the 3rd day of waiting, her large brown egg began to vibrate. It shook and shook as all the ducks watched in awe. Then suddenly, crack! Out from the large brown egg popped a large, strange-looking head of a bird that didn't look much like a duck. This baby's duck bill was too long, his feathers were too scruffy, and his face was a little too ugly. Out from the large brown egg he walked. Nevertheless, the mother duck had promised herself that she would love all of her children just the same. She led her children into the nearby pond and began to teach each duckling how to be a proper duck. She taught them how to quack. Each duckling quacked. Quack, quack, quack. That's a fun sound, isn't it? The ugly duckling tried to quack. Rock! Doesn't quite sound the same, does it? All the ducks in the pond stared at the ugly duckling and began to laugh. The mother duckling sadly took her little ducklings over to the different part of the pond. The ducklings were all giggling and making fun of the ugly one. That's not very nice. The 2 nearby ducks swam up and pecked the ugly duckling's feathers. My gosh, that's so mean. This one looks nothing like your others, one jested. This one's ugly, scoffed the other. The ugly duckling hung his head in shame. The mother duckling became very embarrassed of her ugly duckling and made him stay in the corner of the pond while the others practiced swimming, diving, quacking, and splashing. One evening, as all the ducks in the pond had gone to sleep, the ugly duckling decided that it was time for him to leave. He knew he was causing his mother distress, and he didn't want to live in a place where he felt unwanted. It's kind of like me. I didn't want to live in a place where I didn't feel like I belonged. So the ugly duckling ran away. He waddled far from the pond where he was born. He waddled through small marsh plants and large river reeds. All this waddling made him dirtier than ever. He approached a new pond that was filled with a family of different ducks. The ducks were happily swimming and quacking. He advanced to one of the ducklings who looked to be just the larger and older than the little duckling was. Hello there, beamed the ugly duckling to the other duckling. With this, the new family of ducks turned and stared at the ugly duckling. "And who are you?" asked the mother duckling. "And what are you?" asked the father duck. "You sure are ugly," said the ducklings. As the family of ducks began to quack and laugh at the ugly duckling, he waddled off again in search of a nicer family to call his own. He waddled far away from the pond with his family of ducks. He waddled through the small marsh plants and large river reeds. He waddled all over, and all this waddling made him dirtier than even before. Next, the ugly duckling came to an even larger pond filled with a family of geese. The goslings were brown-gray like he was. Happily, the little duckling walked over to the water's edge and plopped his little body in the water and swam towards the family of geese. He advanced to one of the goslings who looked a little larger and grayer than him. "Hello there," the ugly duckling said happily, greeting the gosling. With this, the family of geese turned and stared at the ugly duckling. Do you think they're going to like him? Are they going to be excited to have a brand new ugly duckling in their family? Let's see. "And who are you?" asked the mother goose. "What are you?" said the father goose. "You sure are ugly," said the goslings. As the family of geese began to honk and laugh at the ugly duckling. Before the duckling could waddle off, the geese surrounded him, and the father goose said, "Though you are quite strange looking, you may stay with us. You are more than welcome to join our family." The ugly duckling couldn't be happier. These geese were very kind to him, though their honks hurt his ears. Many days and nights passed, and the ugly duckling was living happily with the geese. He loved to play with the goslings, and the mother and father treated him as though they were his own. Everything was perfect until a basset hound approached the pond. The hound chased the birds around the pond, trying to catch one of them. The ugly duckling could do nothing but sit still. As the hound approached him, it sniffed him for a while and cocked its head. "What are you? You sure are ugly," he said before it ran off to search for a real goose. In the midst of the hound's search, the ugly duckling sadly waddled off once more. He was growing larger. His feathers were coming in, and the ugly duckling was able to fly off the ground. However, the ugly duckling had become weak because he was so hungry, and he didn't have enough strength to fly. Instead, he waddled his way into a small house where he took shelter during the night. In the morning, the ugly duckling woke to the sound of human chatter. "What is it?" said the old woman. "A duck, perhaps?" said the man. "Just what we needed," said the woman. With that, the farmer and his wife allowed the ugly duckling to live with them in hopes that the duck would lay eggs for them to eat. They waited and waited, but nothing happened. The ugly duckling never laid any eggs. He did, however, grow larger and harder to take care of. Though the farmer and his wife had grown fond of the ugly duckling, they had no more room for him, and so they shooed him out. "Go find yourself a family that will love you," said the farmer very sadly as she shut the door. The ugly duckling hung his head and waddled far away from the farmer's house. He waddled through now frozen marsh plants and large frozen river reeds. He waddled over frozen bundles of sticks. All this waddling made him colder than ever. Miraculously, the ugly duckling survived the cold winter. With spring, all the frozen ponds melted and the frost evaporated from the marsh plants and river reeds. The ugly duckling was still sad, however. He approached a crystal clear pond and saw a family of the most beautiful birds he had ever seen. Swans. As he sat by the water's edge, he didn't dare ask the birds if he could join, for he knew he was too ugly to live with them. He was surely too ugly, and suddenly a swan gracefully glided through the water and over to where the ugly duckling was sitting. My, your feathers are the whitest I have ever seen. How they gleam in the sun," the swan exclaimed to the ugly duckling. Confused, the ugly duckling wandered to the water and peered at his reflection. Much to his surprise, he was not an ugly duckling, for he was not a duck at all. He was a beautiful white swan with a long and elegant neck. He entered the water to join his new family. One day, as the swans were swimming, a man and his wife came strolling by with their child. The swan recognized the couple as the farmer and his wife. They approached the edge of the pond and began to feed the swans. The farmer looked at the once ugly duckling and said, "It looks like you found yourself a family. You are the most beautiful swan I have ever seen." For the rest of his days, the swan lived happily with his new family, and he was greeted often by the farmer and his family. The end. Isn't that wonderful how the swan found his own family? Isn't that so exciting? He wasn't a goose and he wasn't a duck. He was a swan. And then once he found it, he was perfectly content, which is so wonderful. And the fact that the farmer gets to come and say hello to him is quite wonderful. Well, I hope you enjoyed the story. It was wonderful getting to talk to you. I can't wait to hear all about your adventures and what new things you found to add to your collection. I hope you have a wonderful day full of lots of exciting adventures. Goodbye, my friends.
Wasn't that a nice story? Remember, sometimes it's hard to see the good things when everyone else doesn't say such good things about us. Just keep looking for that inner swan. Until next time.